Now I want to talk about laying down a wash, which is one of the basic techniques of watercolor painting. And for that you need to have a good puddle of paint. So mix up again some ultramarine blue if you like, or any other colour you like, but make sure you've got a good puddle of paint. You don't want to be running out halfway through your wash, so don't be playing around with little tiny bits of paint like that. Get yourself a good puddle that you can pick up lots of paint with, and use, again, if you've got a nice mop brush like this, you can use this, or you can use a flat brush, anything that's going to allow you to pick up lots of paint in one go on the brush. Now have your paper on your board on the slope, and I've just drawn a little square to fill in, and I'm coming with my loaded brush, and I'm just going to lie a line of paint along the top. Now because the paper's on the slope, the paint begins to run down to the bottom of that line. I'm just going to touch that with the brush and run through again, and as you can see, the paint is just beginning to flow down the page. I want to pick up some more paint on the brush, and again just bring it across as the horizontal lines, and again here. And what's happening is the paint is slowly flowing down the page, and it'll dry into a lovely nice flat shape, just touching the bubble at the bottom until we get to the bottom. Now what we need to do now is just to dry off the brush on some kitchen roll, make it a thirsty brush, and then we can just run along the bottom here and just pick up that puddle that's there, and the whole thing should then dry a lot flatter. Now the mistakes you can make with this is leaving a few little gaps of white, and you can think, oh, I'll just go back in with the paint and touch those up. If you do that, disaster will strike, and you'll end up with all sorts of patterns and shapes and things happening in there. What you need to do is just not go back into it at all. If you leave a couple of little white specks, it doesn't really matter. The main thing is just to lay it down once and then not touch it again. And then when that's dry, that'll be a lovely flat wash. And here's an example of what can happen if you do go back in. Once the colour's begun to dry, you think, oh, I've got some spots here, I'll come back in with the paint, and you can end up with cauliflowers like this appearing, and other sort of marks and hard marks on the paper. And what's happened here? Well, what's happened here is that the paint was drying as I was laying down the wash. And the problem is that as you do that, then it doesn't allow the paint to run all the way down the page. So that was because I didn't have enough paint on my brush. You need to have a fully loaded brush and lots of water on it. We are painting with watercolor after all. We need lots and lots of water, and it'll run down the page and stop lines and marks like that happening on your wash.